Australia's Prime Minister resigns.
My lordy, you guys are up far too early. 2 a.m. Dennis is, what's he on? That's got to be pretty. 5 a.m. in Canada. Good morning! Welcome to Flory Fest 2021. 2 days of fun, laughter, breaking models, getting it all wrong, and probably technical difficulties. But that's what makes us Flory Fest. It's like it every year. So anyway, if you've never joined us for this type of format before, it's the usual thing. It's basically us trying to entertain you for 2 days like a virtual model show. That's how it's actually going to work. So over the next 2 days, we'll be doing some demos. We'll be showing you some bits and pieces. We've got some guests coming on as well. Nathan's doing a quiz if you want to join us tonight at 7:30 till 9 as well, which is just a riot right the way through with that one. So if you want to come along for that one, it'd be absolutely great. So the way that this basically breaks down, we're going to be on with you for between now and midday. Sort of 2 hours now, and then we'll be in the afternoon from 2 till 5, and then obviously this evening we can do 7:30 till 9 o'clock or whenever we finish, and then tomorrow we'll be back with you 10 till midday, and then in the afternoon again from 2 until around about sort of 5 o'clock in the evening as well. At the same time as doing all of that, we have lots of stuff going on. We've got a little schedule there you can see just down in the bottom, but we have got some mega sales going on at the moment as well. So on the Flory Models site, you've basically got up to 28% off all the various stuff down in here, and I know you lot have been buying crazy since I let it go live 6 o'clock this morning. But like for instance, we've got packs of the actual washes, which are normally sort of £41.30. They're up at £30.99. All the washes are up at £4.80, so they're normally £6 as well. So it's 25% off of those. We've got pigment deals as well, normally £35. They're down to £25 as well for the pigments. And all your other ones, the sander sets as well, they're at a good discount as well. So normally they're £43, they're at 35, and obviously we got the sets, which are a bargain anyway, so I've only knocked £1 off of them, and all the other sanders are down there at just £5. So if you want to grab anything from those, you can do. Also, it stands right the way across over onto the PM site as well. Links for all of these are down below in the show notes as well, so just click on the links and you go off to those. But obviously PM Models have got a massive sale, which is 10% off all kits. So any manufacturer kits down in here, it's 10% off, as well as they've got special offers. So we've got some show special deals, just as we would do at the shows as well. So some great ones down there. Weathering pencils, nice. So we've got all of those down in there. Some fantastic kits, new releases as well. So good price on the Super Hornets as well. So very, very nice right the way through. So feel free to peruse at your leisure. Obviously you'll need another tab open as you do that whilst you're watching us as well. It doesn't stop there. So everybody who's in the EU, we've got your back covered as well, because Serious Models are doing 15% off. You might know that these are the UK distributor for Flory Models products, so they're doing basically a deal for all of those. Those are all put on directly at the checkout, so you get your 15% off the Flory Models products at checkout as well. So if you want to go after Serious Models, so if you're in the EU, you don't have to worry about import and taxes and all stuff like that. It's all taken care for you down in there, because obviously they are in Greece, so that's very nice. Brett, I don't think he's got up yet, so he hasn't set his up, but Brett over at High Altitude Hobbies, hopefully when he does get up, he'll put on the discount as well. So if you're in the US and things like that, you can get your discounts just down in there as well. Doesn't stop there. If you want to send us any of your pictures as well, of your completed models or anything in general, don't forget you can pop over to Instagram and just use the hashtag official Flory Models. Then it'll appear down in here, and obviously we can showcase and have a look at your work as well. So if you want to get involved with it, just pop over to Instagram and then just use the hashtag official Flory Models, and then it'll appear down in here, and then you can do it from there. So just tag us into your stuff and we can have a look at your great work as well. So that's literally how it's going to work. Flory Models members, you can just pop yours in the forum and do it just like that as well. So if you do it in the one which is for Flory Fest, we can showcase your work down in there as we speak. So that's how that's all going to work. Same time as that, obviously clearly we are live across the social media platform as well. So we're over on the YouTube. So good morning to everybody in YouTube land as well. So it's nice to see you guys all down in there. And obviously the Flory Models chat room is open for business as well. So that's down in there as well. So lots and lots of things. That's my intro speech. Can I have a lie down now? Jesus.
I'm
Sorry?
I said, and breathe.
And breathe. So yes, all in that in one breath. That's it. So basically, you know the format. It is supposed to be light-hearted, quite a lot of fun. Usual thing, like we say, if you follow sort of me and Matt and the guys when we do our Saturday morning show, it's basically going to be like that, but on steroids. It's just going to carry on throughout the day. If you've got any questions, feel free to post them up. But obviously, if we don't answer them, it's nothing personal. It's just obviously it moves very quickly, the actual live chat areas. So the thing is, just keep asking it until you get a response from us, and we can do it like that. What I need to do is set up super chat and things so you pay for it and then it stays longer. As somebody pointed out to me the other day, but I'm not that cheap. So we won't be doing that. But yes, very good. Hello to everyone. So, morning gentlemen, how are we all doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Bright-eyed and
My
bushy
phone
tail?
keeps pinging. My phone keeps pinging for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you'll need to mute all of that, all your notifications coming through down in there. And Nathan, are you all right this morning?
I'm good, yeah. I'm sort of in that dilemma of what kit to start. Dilemma, which might I see me procrastinating a lot this morning.
Hey, look, we can do a live poll. You put up some options, grab some kits, stick them up, and we'll all tell you what you need to build.
Last time I did that, I built the crappy javelin.
Well, yeah, but you just put up what is good kits. Don't put up the rubbish, because you know full well they'll make you build the hardest, worst kit ever. So that's how that will work. From my point of view, what I'm going to be doing basically a little bit this morning, obviously we're going to interact with you guys to start with, is going to do some weathering. So obviously I'm going to do some weathering on the Vulcan. I'm going to do some live weathering on that. And then tomorrow in the morning we're going to do finishing off the build for the Lightning. If you don't follow us normally, me and Matt, and then obviously the guys join in when they can as well, we do Saturday shows and it's literally us modelling. So over the last few weeks I've been building the Lightning. So I'm going to finish off the weathering on that to complete that build as we make our way through.
Can I just answer a question? Glow in the Dark REF. Has anyone here built a vac form kit? A bit too advanced for my skills at the moment, and wondered for a high skilled modder if you can make a decent kit out of them. To be honest with you, I'd highly recommend, if you've never done a vac form kit, try one of the mini art scenery buildings.
Mm-hmm.
They are mini art, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah. I could show you one if you want. Shall I go and get it?
Go and get it.
I bought mine because I've been clearing out the shed. I've got one that I pulled out the loft. I'll show you. Hold up.
I've got one behind me that's covered in dust as well.
I've got a Welsh Models platform airline kit floating around somewhere.
But because they are vac form, but because of the way they are, they sort of they give you the basics of how to do it, and it's all right. It's a good introduction into it.
Mm-hmm. Again, I've built a couple of vac form ones. At the end of the day, it's just that you have to realise, because of the limitations on vac form moulding, it's not like injection moulding, so some of the details can be very soft. So some of them I've done in the past have had literally, recessed panel lines and things like that, but they all need sharpening up. And then obviously things like riveting and that is very rare you'll see it. Hold on, let me put you on full screen, which I worked out where you are. There you are.
There you go. So I built that, a few years ago, and I've been refurbing it because obviously my skills are progressing. And actually, they're all right. I don't think this little scene's not available anymore, unfortunately, because they did a few different ones. But there are a good introduction to vac form modelling, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's the nice thing also, is that I was just pointing out that for aircraft modelling they tend to be very soft details, but for building, for brickwork especially and stuff like that, it's absolutely spot on.
We can add your own textures and stuff, which again you can't really do with aircraft, so it does work well with these sort of bases, with rendering and stuff like that, and also the damage, because obviously they join two halves, so you do get a nasty seam line that obviously runs through it. Obviously with this being blown up, you can add debris and all sorts to it, stick them on,
and where the front and back join together, if you get some plastic card and make tabs to join the two halves together.
I'm actually going to do a video on doing one of these, to be honest, a standalone vid.
Like I said, it is a good introduction to that form.
There you go. Somebody just said you need to do a video. I am going to do one. I'm going to pick a mini art, because I'm a bit of a mini art fanboy. And I do like these little sort of buildings they do, because I think for the money they're cheap and you can do a lot with them. So,
Matt keeps buying them from the suppliers, and I keep putting them up on the site, and then he tells me off because He says, that's my stash.
Andy, apparently you need to check that the FMS 007's always been $0.
Been there, done that.
Oh, you've changed it. Were we giving them away for free, were we, at one point?
Looks like it.
Oh. One job.
It's
It's a good job I had 28,000 of them come in about 4 weeks ago.
Well, I was doing 8 o'clock this morning.
That was a bargain, wasn't it?
Somebody was just asking, will Flory Models be attending the model show at Yeovil later this month? No, unfortunately we're not. We're not doing any shows this year at all. As I say, we've got a slightly different format next year for shows and various things. That's why we're doing these. Because the weather is absolutely horrendous down here in sunny, not really sunny Devon today. And it's great to be able to do a show like this without having to lug gear around.
It is.
And setting up and all those things. It's quite nice sitting in your own home, having a coffee in the warm. Yeah, that's what we're sort of doing, is these interactive shows, shall we say. So that's what we're saying about. We want to post up your work. Don't forget, stick it over the old hashtag official Flory Models on Instagram, and I can pick up your photos from there as well. And we can have a look at your great work, which would be lovely to see. So, yes.
Definitely.
Are you building a Spitfire then, Nath? Is that it? Is that what people were asking?
Right. That's the Pramjet Spitfire, isn't it? So
It is.
I might start that tomorrow.
How's your Fokker getting on, by the way?
Oh.
I did briefly see Thursday's, you talking about decaling and more decaling. And cheating because you're decaling and not painting.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's all. I mean, they're working. The decals are working. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them at all. They work. You know, they do what they're supposed to do. I think I just need to weather it and beat it up a bit and then make it my model. I've had no problem whatsoever with these decals. I'm just not digging it because I just feel, like I said last Thursday, it feels like I've built somebody else's model.
Yeah, he's just wrapped it.
It's vinyl wrap on it.
It's vinyl wrapping. That's what we said on Thursday night.
The actual kit, the teeny tiny bits of flash, which I think is not typical of wingnut wings, is it?
No.
But having said that, once I've tidied the parts up, the fit's perfect, the detail's lovely. So one problem I've got, a bit of a ghost seam here, and obviously with it being a decal, I can't do anything about it. So I'm a bit stuck there. So I think it's a thing. If I was going to do another one, I would build another one, but I wouldn't use these decals. It's just not for me. But I think once it's together, it's going to look.
It'll be a nice showpiece, won't it?
Yeah, that's
It'll
right.
look cool. And everybody's going to say, you've got a ghost seam there. But it's like, never mind.
See, that is the only trouble. If it is buried under a decal, there's nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
Not unless you're going to try and repaint over the decal as well.
I mean, I could try and lift the decal up, but then that's another. I think I'm going to do more harm than good.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, put a tarp on it. I'm going to have to do something. What I might do is try and think of something I can throw over the back of the aircraft. Maybe like a coat or something, just to cover the worst bit of it. And it's got a ghost seam, you know. Worst things happen at sea, don't they?
Yeah.
Can't do anything about it. Maybe when it's under a flat coat, it might not show up so much. But that's the issue with this build, is it's heavy. I've got to be very delicate with it. So it needs apparently the instructions call for 2 coats of future before you do anything else to it. But I think put future on it and then a good thick flat coat on it. I'm hoping it'll just smooth out a little bit of the ghost seam, and I might have to make a jacket out of green stuff. Just throw it over the back. Look like it's just been chucked there. Which is like a World 1 equivalent of putting tarp on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Just put some oily rags on it.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, if you want, I'm not knocking these aviatic decals at all. They're really good. You could never do what I've done here with paint. But I think if you want a nice, easy way to get this really complex camo, then yeah, go for it. They work. Read the instructions though. You don't leave them soaking in the water. You dip them, lay them out on the table. Let them sort of just soak for about 30 seconds on your tabletop, so they're not getting too wet, and then they work perfectly. And then I've not used any. I've used a little bit of Microsoft, and that's it.
Can I just make a quick official announcement
Look.
that the James Bond special that we had on at Flory Models, at Pier Models, is now officially finished, and nobody took us up on it, so you're lost. The FMS 007.
Oh, right.
I thought you meant something else then.
Oh, right. So did I. I thought he was talking about something else, which I think that's about the grab. Yeah, I thought that's what he was talking about as well.
There you go. That's what you need. Everybody needs one of them.
Absolutely.
Good
Best
shout,
Bond
Peter.
film ever.
It's even got a detailed bay with payload, apparently. Look. It's a shame we don't get a Hugo Drax figure, isn't it?
Yes.
Or a Jaws.
I was going to say, you need Jaws, don't you?
Yeah, you need Jaws or something, but yeah. So,
And I must admit, for people who remember, when I did my big shuttle, the 72nd one I've got, I used the music for the final reveal, but I got stung copyrighted for it. But it was up there for about 2 years before suddenly they twigged I was using it. But that's the actual music from the launch sequence, the titles, which was done by, I can't remember the composer's name now, a very famous composer did it.
John Barry.
Yeah, John Barry did the music.
Was it the Flight into Space music?
Yes, yeah, that's the music I
brilliant.
used.
That is a brilliant piece of music, that is.
Yeah.
I have that on my Spotify list,
That's it.
to be honest.
But that's the thing to it. But I'd say it was up there for like 2 years, no problem at all. And then all of a sudden I got a message saying copyright strike on it because I'm using their music to shift it. So, but no, good
Apparently,
kit.
you can do all the theatrical versions of the Moonrakers.
Oh, right.
Through 1 through to 6, and a US Marines version.
There you go.
Cool's that, and it's 10.5 inches tall.
They're asking in YouTube chat, Phil, about the person from Airfix who's coming to join us tomorrow afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock, Pranjit's on.
From
Going to be doing a bit of a talk about some bits and pieces. And then obviously I'm going to put this together with him because this is Pranjit's kit as well. So I'm going to be putting that one together. Though apparently we can't get it. So brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, they sent it to me last week, and it was like I just thought it was out and available, but apparently it's not. So, but yes, Pranjit did the mosquito as well. So if you've got any questions, I've got a mosquito here as well. He's going to be on 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So if you've got questions about the mosquito or about the hawk, or I say Nathan's got his Spitfires around, Pranjit's the designer. But also, as a lot of you probably know if you follow us, he's a member of Flory Models and he's a great modeller as well. He also did all the Vulcans, so I can talk to him about the Vulcan as well. So the Vulcans that you see from Airfix, he built those. He didn't design it, but he did build them. So that'll be interesting to see.
He's probably built more Airfix Vulcans than anyone else on the planet.
I think he probably has, yes. So somebody else was just talking in there, we'll get it out of the way, is the do we think the Border Models Lancaster is worth the money?
Depends which way you want to look at it, really. I think the issue with the Border Models Lancaster is going to be is actually getting one.
Well, I think that's going to be the problem as well. Yeah.
I think from what we were talking about on Thursday, if you can afford it, it's worth every penny. If you can't afford it, then it's it's whether or not you can afford a Flory or you can afford a Fiesta, Ford into it.
And to be honest, that's what I did. My sort of summing up for it is that it's expensive if you can't afford it. But if money's no object to you, it's just 700 quid, isn't it? So, and it's a bit like if you've got nowhere to display it, but if you've got somewhere for it, then it's not a problem. But
there is a cheaper alternative coming out with the HK one with the 3-in-1.
I haven't mentioned this, by the way, because I didn't know it was official yet. So you've said it. I'm blaming you.
No, it's fine. It's official. HK
Right,
released in a 3-in-1.
Well, I didn't want to mention this.
So Mark 1, a Mark 3, and a Dam Busters.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh right, I didn't want, because to be honest, on Thursday night it was that thing, but yes, it was one of those where I didn't want to mention it because I didn't know it was official yet. But yeah, I think again this could be the way to go. You know, let's face it, it's a lot less money, and you got 3 in a box.
Yeah.
Well, no, you
can
one
build
in a box,
all 3 out of one box.
Yeah.
You know, you've got all the options in one. So.
Then it depends on what you want to build, doesn't it? If you know you want to build a Mark 1, and you can afford it, then...
Just in defence of the HK one, obviously, keep showing this, which we'll get around to doing one day. But it's actually a really nice car. I had no problem building the front end of it, so I can't see the rest of it being any problems. Only the size, obviously.
Yeah.
I know it hasn't got the corrugated and the quite nice surface detail, obviously, that the new border models one will have. But as an overall kit, I think it's pretty well detailed. I think everything there, it all fits. I don't know, So I've had no problem when I was doing this, chucking this together. So
is that similar to comparing, say, like the Rebel Spitfire that Phil's building to a Tamiya Spitfire?
probably.
Yeah,
because you look in monetary terms. Excuse me, monetary terms. Yeah, there's going to be a massive difference, isn't there? But
again, yeah, I've spoken about this one for people. I know obviously the members have seen the video already, but the non-members haven't. But you will get it next week. This is what we're talking about here, and it's something I think it's worthy of the talk. Is the detail obviously isn't as nice on this kit as it is on this one. This is the Tamiya 130 quid kit. You know, very nice, got gorgeous engine detail, nice cockpit detail. This is the 35 quid Tamiya Revell version. And again, it's one of these things, as it sits here, this doesn't look particularly nice, but I think by the time you've painted it and weathered it, that gap closes a lot. This has got fully recessed panel lines. It's got all the rivets this one's got. They're not just as refined and all the rest of it. So you're paying that extra good chunk of cash for the refinement that goes through. And again, you could put an engine into this, but it would be aftermarket. Obviously this one comes with it. And like I've often said, Tamiya stuff tends to be that thing where you can build it straight out of the box and just add details and you're good to go. Where, you know, this particular kit, you would need a few extras in there. But as I said, horses for courses. When you look at the price difference, and I think by the time this one has been done, obviously I will do a side-by-side comparison with both of them, I don't think there's going to be that much of a gap. You know, it depends. If you want that engine and that opened up detail, then clearly you're going to want to go down the Tamiya route. If you're not worried about an engine and stuff, this one does make a really nice kit, you know. And I think from an overall, and like we were talking about when we spoke about this one, from 3 feet away, it'll be very hard to tell the difference. If I did them in the same markings from 3 feet away, I think it'd be really hard to know who's who. You know, it's only when you get up to it and you see the refineness of the details and stuff like that. But again, it's one of those 35 quid, 120 quid, or whatever it is. You know, you pays your money and take your choice, don't you?
yeah, but who'd have thought 5 years ago you'd have had 2 choices to do a 1/32 scale Lancaster?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You got to look at it in that respect as well. It would have been sort of vac form or you know, something like that to even think about it. And now look, you've got 2 choices. One is, you know, they're not cheap pair of them, but one is obviously considerably cheaper than the other version. Still look like a Lancaster, isn't it, when it's done?
Yeah.
So the options are there. So yeah.
Tony says, as a member, I still can't find the Spitfire build video. Where am I looking? Where am I not looking?
Look on Tuesday's vlog. It was Tuesday it went up. So if you go to the forum and go Tuesday, you will see it down in there. To be honest, as I say, I've just got to do all the links to finish off that particular section in the 101 section, which will be on the main site, and you'll be able to get it in there. At the moment, it's still in the forum under the Tuesday area. So if you go to Tuesday's vlog, do you want me to show you? Look, hold on. If you go in here and you go vlogs and builds, go back to Tuesday, which is Ha. So hold on. There you go. Just go into Tuesday, click in here, and obviously you've got the first bit, which is me yapping, and then obviously it's here. And that's the one. So it's 1 hour and 15 minutes, and it basically gets the entire build together right up to basically where we're going to do some filling. And in part 2, it's all about fillers, rescribing, re-riveting, and obviously doing the masking work and all the sort of little bits and pieces before it goes together. So this is the basics, if you like, of it. But again, this is going to be broken down into bite-sized ones. They're around about 10-15 minutes each. So it'll break this video up into about 10 separate parts. So if you don't want to sit through the entire thing, you can just grab each section and go for it just like that. But that's how that one is. But yeah, just go to Tuesday. It's up there, Tuesday, 28th September in the forum, and it's down there. Cool, very good. Should we have a look at some people's work? We've had people's work already.
Yeah, give it more. Let's have a
Snoop at some of your work. So don't forget, if you do want to, let me just load it through. Here we go. If you do want to post up some bits and pieces, we'll have a look. We'll start, I'll tell you what, start up here. All right, so we got there a very, very nice looking Merlin engine. So we're just talking about this one. This is the Tamiya Spitfire with all the wiring and the plumbing all down in there. Very, very nice indeed. And then we've got this is from Viper Models. This is the BF 109 G14.
That's nice.
Whose kit's that? Is that Edard's?
Cuphead's Fenster.
You need to put up whose kits you're building.
Yes.
So we know.
Sorry, yeah, down.
It's got to be on it.
Yeah.
Is it 1/72nd scale?
I don't know.
That's 48.
The tag's below it.
Wow.
No, let us know what scale that is.
Yeah.
Is that,
1/72nd scale.
we'll say tiny. It is. Oh no, Nathan's pulled out a box. What box you got out there, Nathan?
Very nice. Sorry, we can just
the
pop back to the
figures
rank.
think it is.
Sorry, we've got more photos here. Sorry, I didn't realise it worked like this. It's the first time I've used the computer for this. Beautiful work on that Merlin. Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we've got down in here, this is a 0. Again, we need some scales, guys. Put scales up. What scale is it? I'm assuming this is I'm assuming this is the 30-second one. No, it's 48 scale.
Oh, right. All right. We're all
Only because he hashtagged it 1 to 48 scale. Look at that.
That's
Beautiful
amazing
weathering.
weathering,
That's
isn't it?
fantastic weathering down there.
That's
Brilliant. That looks proper nice.
That's proper fading chipping job. Very, very nice.
That's great.
Yeah, that's
Just
amazing.
how a 0 should look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh out the factory.
Well, like
God.
mine.
That's one flight.
Very, very nice indeed. Good job on that one. I think these are all from the same person, Viper Models, actually. So we're all good. I don't think I can make them bigger. That's the only trouble. So very nice F-16. Very nice. Nice with the old panels taken out and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Tamiya
Look at that.
48, so isn't it?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very nice job. And we'll let him off because he's got Flory Models tailcode. Even better. One more. Another F-16. One of the Spang Birds. It's got the old travel pod as well. Nice.
Some nice models there. Some good stuff.
Very good stuff there. Very, very nice. Very cool. Well done. Crikey, I don't know how we get out of here. There we go. Very nice job indeed. Remember, if you want to get your work seen, please post up. Just put us in a hashtag official Flory Models and it'll
And
appear.
scale.
Sorry?
And hashtag your scale.
Yeah, and hashtag your scale so we can see what it is as well. But some beautiful work there. Well done. Very, very nice indeed. So yeah. Nathan,
Yes, John.
go on.
John is working today.
Yes. Feel for him because the weather's proper icky down here today. Nathan, somebody's asking what was the part number or the kit number of your Spitfire?
This one is right. It is. Where do they hide it? It's the starter set Spitfire. Where's the blooming part number? It's crikey. A55001. It's the quick build Spitfire. Based on the other Spitfire they've done, isn't it? It's a simplified kit.
Yes,
Yeah.
these are the starter kits. They're slightly, they're not quite as full on as the other ones are. So yes. Dennis is just saying about, sorry, somebody was asking about compressor. Yeah, Simon was saying about
Simon,
compressor for a beginner and airbrush. I think Brian says that's what we always say. I think the Sparmax TC 610H is a fantastic compressor. Matt's got 2 of them, amazingly.
And
Which
there
is,
will be
we say how good they are, but Matt's got both of ours and we haven't got them. So, but they're the one we would go with.
Yeah,
So
they're brilliant.
yeah,
They're really
it's somebody says, "Oh, I need a compressor," so he's ended up with a ton of them. But I've just got the bigger one. I've got the 620, which you don't need the 620. It's completely over the top. The 610 is absolutely fantastic, really nice one. And an airbrush, as I say, the Procon. I love it. I've been using mine now for a good couple of years, and I changed the needle nozzle set for the first time, even though I didn't need to. The other day, which was really testimony to them. So it is the PS270. Very, very nice bit of kit. You'll see it later anyway, because I'll be doing some stuff with
one
it.
of the 610s Matt's got is mine, one's Phil's, and I've a Bambi silent compressor that's definitely overkill.
That's not silent either.
We've got
It's quieter. It is quieter. The mic seemed to pick it up a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we do a microphone test, it won't be that quiet.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, we've got a question here before it goes on our chat.
go on.
This is from Frederick. He's got a couple of Molotov Graph X art masking pens. Never heard of them, I've got to say, from my point of view. Do you have any experience with these?
Are they the pens that you can put? Are they the Molotov pens that have got like stuff in them, so it's just like masking? Didn't Phil have? Phil's got some anti.
Oh, is that one? What, this one?
And the other thing is, Andy, Tom Hardy's asking about a DasWorks stuff. We'll have to find out if there's any in stock from our supplier.
Yes.
Is that the liquid?
Let me write that down.
If this is what we're talking about, what's it called, Andy?
The Graph X
Art Mix liquid pens.
Molotov.
Is that a Molotov one, Phil?
Yeah. Oh, hold on, let me
That's
find my
the one,
overhead
isn't it?
camera. I'll show you. Hold on, where's me doofus? There we go, that one. So we tested this. We did a live test with it. So I just wrote my name in it, and then just like a pen. And this is it when we used it. So all you do is it just comes out like, clear liquid. So you can just put it down and you can go around with it, and it just does it. It dries just like, normal sort of latex. And then you can just rub it out. And we did it with this, and I just sprayed over it when we first got it, was demoing with it. It does work very well, but as you can probably see, it's not the cleanest edge. It's quite teary. And again, I think it's one of those things, maybe with a little bit more time, a little bit more finesse, you could do it. But I think if I remember rightly, we were saying it does work, but it's just a long-winded way of doing it. Because obviously you've got to get it all off, and it's quite tricky sometimes to get it off because it's very, very thin. It's not like normal, when you're using masking liquid, it's quite thick. This stuff's very, very thin, but it does dry quite quickly. And in theory, actually, I don't think you've seen it yet, but the last part of the Vulcan bomber, I used it for the sighting system underneath the chin as a masking thing. It worked perfectly on that, and that's got lacquer paint over it. And to be honest, it was over it for a good sort of 3-4 weeks, and it did peel off okay. But it does work, it can be used, but it's just not as refined as doing other areas, like on masks and that. This is a Vacform mask on it we did a demo with, but it is one of those ones where, yes, it sort of works, but it doesn't do it refined. It's not like using normal stuff and just painting it on and so forth and so on. But if you're doing tight little areas, and I think if you were using sort of sci-fi type stuff and you wanted a teared edge or that type of camo, you could use it. But because it's really thin, it's quite tricky to get off without damaging the paintwork underneath it and stuff like that. But yeah, it does do it. At the end of the day, I have to say it does it. It just doesn't do it nicely.
Yeah. Can I just say something to, because I think people just noticed, the Hurry Stories and the MI24s that we've had on pre-order will be in on Monday, so you will be invoiced and they will be out. And obviously we've got them up on the site, so they're due in on Monday. That's why you haven't been invoiced yet. So
everybody's name's all written down, ready to
primed
go.
and ready to get you invoiced. So yes, that'll be interesting, and Phil will get the reviews as usual. We'll send him a call.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice to see those ones, I must admit.
Yeah.
Again, we've seen the kits in their individual stages, but it's always nice when Eddard throw their goodies at them as well, isn't it? Are you on Tizer again?
Tizer, that's Iron Brew, mate. Iron Brew Extra, no, whatever it is. It's quite nice, actually.
Made from girders.
I like Iron Brew, I've got to say.
It's made out of old buildings.
Sugar-free girders.
It's from my Scottish heritage or something.
Just quickly, the YouTube chat, you and the Panda says I've recently been looking at Zvezda kits. And from what I can see, they're a bit iffy. What are your thoughts on the quality?
Tell you what, go and have a word with yourself. A bit iffy. How rude. They're fantastic.
Some of the older ones are a bit iffy.
Yeah, we've talked about it, but if it's sort of like they're probably 10 years or older, they're possibly
Iffy.
sort of like when they were a newer company. But recent ones are fantastic.
Yeah.
I tell you what, they've come on leaps and bounds. We had a full-on discussion about Zvezda not long ago.
We did.
Like there you go. There's the Zvezda kit.
Not the gun on the back.
No, that's my one that I completed a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. It was a real fun build. You know, the kit itself is a dream. Nathan described. How did you call it, Nathan? The way they key the joints?
It's called Pokiyoki, which the Tamiya are famous for, which you can't put things in backwards or upside down.
Right.
It's not idiot-proof is a rude way of putting it, but
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, let's just say it's idiot-proof.
Yes.
But where's your little hurricane?
I don't know. I've just put it away safely. I just finished their...
He's built that many kits this year. He don't know where he's putting any of them when he's
I'm
finished.
running out of space for sort of non-luff. It's hidden somewhere. But I built their snap-tight Hurricane. Apart from taking out some of the lugs for the snap-tight fit, I didn't do anything. It was a lovely little build, but I think the snap-tightness of it is a bit rubbish. But
Again, I think thing is, put the T90A is 10-year-old kit from Zvezda, and that's a good kit. I do think the early stuff, can be a bit ropey, let's be honest. But I think a lot of it is, I don't know, they're just coming on leaps and bounds. It's like ICM.
I was going to say, I always say Zvezda and
Said it,
ICM, they're on a par because they both they were mediocre kits, let's face it, and they overnight brought out some really good stuff.
yeah, I mean, I can't deny some of their older stuff is a bit rubbish. But if you look at any kit company from 10 years ago, the full kits, they're a bit rubbish. But go and scale, mates, and just check the... Can't find this Hurricane. Just check the age of it, and if it's 10 plus years old, you're in for a bit more sanded filling.
Or do a bit more research, because there's going to be build threads on the internet about them, and people will say, "Oh, this is rubbish," or I'd take it with a pinch of salt because some, we do get it, don't you, with the build threads where it's not true to the kit, shall we say? That's more builder error or
user error. Yes.
Yeah.
But it is, isn't it? You know what I mean? Oh, this is rubbish because it's easier to blame the kit than yourself. So I think
the only recent one that we've had any sort of complaint about was the 48 Hind, wasn't it? Because it was a simplified cockpit. But conspiracy theorists think it's because of a reason.
Sorry, I've just been told Leslie's just come in. I need to be seen for something, so let me just book it out back as soon as.
That's all right.
The cockpit was a bit simplified on the 48th Zvezda Hind, so but then at the same time, another Russian company bought out a very detailed stick-on cockpit thing for it, didn't they?
Yeah, but I think for the price point, which you get 72 scale fighters, it's nicely detailed.
Yeah,
it gives.
Oh, sorry.
You get two sprues. This is a snap tight kit again. You get two sprues. Enough. Surface detail gives Airfix a run for the money. So it's in that Airfix Revell tier of sort of like standard of kit. This one. That is a kit that's probably getting on a bit. I don't know if there's a year on this, but I think if you, just like anything, just go on Scale Mates, check a few reviews. There are some things in their catalogue that are not as good as the new stuff, but the new stuff gives any other manufacturer a run for the money. I'm just trying to find the date on this kit. Sort of, we're saying 10-year cut-off, aren't we? Really? But I think I've only got good things to say about Zvezda on balance, really. For the price point, you're getting an amazingly detailed kit that they're just getting better and better and better every year. So I think go for it, give it a whirl. Because this kit here cost me £4, £8 full price.
And that's what we're saying with it as well. It's one of those ones that, you know, technically it's designed as a starter kit and all the rest of it, but you just put a little bit of work into them and you can add all the details and the bits and pieces. You end up for something really, really good.
I mean, comparing it to the Eddard 119, this scale, Eddard's the best one. You're going to notice because it's not got rivet detail on it. But you're going to have to get that close to, you know, that's the only difference between that and the best kit on the market. Because there's no rivet detail. The cockpit's just as good.
Yeah.
You know? So, but this is £8 full price.
I know, and what do you get really for that type of money these days, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Exactly. So there you go. I think give them a whirl because, you know, it's you're not risking a fortune, are you? So.
In YouTube chat, Alex Ralph says, with a budget of £200, what combination airbrush and compressor would you suggest? You can get the TC610 for £206. I'd honestly save up a bit more. Get the TC610 for £206, which is just over your budget, but then save up for the airbrush and probably go with you can get a Sparmax. What's the cheap one you got, Phil? The Spar.
Yeah.
If you had to choose, would you spend less on the compressor and more on the airbrush?
Yes. Yeah.
I've been using
Or
generic.
You can get the little Neo, which is a really cheap airbrush.
That's it, yeah.
This one here, and actually it's not a bad airbrush. At the end of the day, for a starter one, it's a double action airbrush and all the rest of it. It's not made by Iwater at all. It's actually made by another company, but it's using their name and all the rest of it. It doesn't feel quite like an Iwater, so I don't think it is an Iwater, but it's a great starter airbrush, and these things are relatively quite cheap, but it'll get you up and running no problem at all. But I have to say, if I would buy a cheaper compressor that probably only lasts you maybe a year or two and go for something like that. This is the, go full screen, might be a bit better. This is the PS270. It's got a Mac valve built in. I've done loads of videos on this one. The big system's going to come online next week. But yeah, it is absolutely fantastic. So what this has basically got in it is, I am an airbrush whore, quite frankly, because I've got a few. But what you've got is all the internals in here are in here. So there's a very, very similar. You can't interchange them, but they are basically the same. So the way that the trigger and everything feels on this is basically the same as what you're going to get inside an Iwater, because this is basically a licensed version of and all the rest of it. So Iwater triggers and the way they feel are pretty legendary as being probably one of the best ones out there. And it's really that nice. The nozzle is easy, it keeps clean, it's no problem at all, so forth and so on. You know, like they're all drawbacks, they all do this. I've eaten the nickel out of mine and all the rest of it, and you can't change it over like you can with some other airbrushes. But really, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But you've got a lock on the back, you've got an airflow Mac valve at the front. That's all you really need for what we do. This is the 0.2, and it's just been my daily driver now for the last 3 years, maybe a bit more now. And it is absolutely fantastic. I really, really can't fault it. It just keeps going and doing the business. But honestly, I would say that in some cases, I would say go with a cheaper airbrush, because you can pick them up for like 80 quid cheap ones, but let it be known, sometimes they get hot, sometimes they blow up, sometimes they go on forever. It is a lottery with the cheaper airbrushes, whereas obviously with the compressors, and that is the thing with them. You know, I know some people have had a cheap compressor for 10 years and I'm amazed it's still going, but they are, you know, no problem at all. But other people I know have had them 6 months and the bearings go and they get noisy, or the thermal cutout keeps cutting in really when you don't want it, and they can be a right nightmare. So it is a little bit of a lottery with those. But I would say, you know, for like 120 quid for one of these, that will do you forever. You'll never have to change it. And also you've got a good foundation, because sometimes if you use a cheaper airbrush, it's really difficult. It doesn't work exactly as perhaps a more expensive one does, and you'll lose heart in the hobby and in airbrushing, and that's purely because you're trying to work with a tool that is a bit substandard, you know. So I always think good airbrush, mid-range one, compressor you can go cheaper, and then get a nicer compressor later.
Look, for £300 you could have a really nice.
Yeah, 300 quid. You're all in with everything. We've done little things on this before. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's one of those situations where I wouldn't go cheap. I know a lot of people say, oh, I bought a cheap airbrush for 20 quid off of eBay. It'll work fine for the first couple of uses, but then the internals don't like lacquers and things like that, and then afterwards they can give you real problems. But again, sometimes you can get lucky. Some cheap airbrushes out there go on forever. Others don't last 5 minutes. So,
And I just ask what I've missed here, because we've just
I think we need to pick
It's
someone off
airbrushes, Matt.
YouTube chat.
You're not interested in airbrushes, Matt. So
no,
don't worry about
that's not airbrush whore either.
No, I've just looked at Roger's comment on our chat.
We need to kick someone off YouTube who's got an interesting username.
Oh right, get rid.
What's that one? What's the username?
Probably
Fanny
not.
Smeller 007.
Oh, right. Okay, go on then. Kick him off.
did ask.
Andy, you can do it.
it. Who?
That's
That's all right. I've got it. Oh, shit.
Cheery
Look, I
bye.
didn't realise we could report.
Yeah. Cheery bye.
We could just send the message grow up, perhaps.
Yes.
Assuming you're not 7.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps he is 7.
It's 7. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Look, I won't report him quite yet.
So,
If he keeps coming back, I'll report him.
yeah.
But yeah, the thing is, like we said before, you know, airbrushing is one of those things. If you're a modeler and you're just using paints and you're paintbrushing and all the rest of it, and you just want to take that next step, it's always worth taking a bit of a leap instead of a little small step, because a little small step, you might have a go at it and it's just not working right and you struggle with it, and it's very easy to get really disheartened with it and then think, do you know what, it's not for me, and go back to it. But you're fighting against your equipment. Whereas if you spend a little bit more money, and it is an investment, admittedly, and you say, well, look, I'm going to throw 300 quid at it, I'm going to have a really nice airbrush, I'm going to get myself a decent compressor, and all your other little bits and pieces that go with it as well, they soon add up. But you've got everything you'll need forever. It's a bit like we've often said, it's a bit like a spray booth, because that'll be your next thing, you know? It seems like a bit of a luxury and all the rest of it, but for everybody who's got a good one, you wouldn't go without it, would you? You know,
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. You think at the time, oh, I'll just spray it with the window open and all the rest of it, and I'll wear a respirator, which is fine as long as you're wearing something to protect yourself. But from an environmental point of view, keeping dust down and stuff like that, it's a lot easier having an extractor, you know, and just getting rid of it all and stuff. But these things come later on. But definitely, I think it's worth taking a bit of a leap and going in. And if it doesn't work for you, the second-hand retail value of airbrushes and compressors is always quite strong. So if you bang it back on eBay, you won't lose much money on it. Because I know people who have put them back up, and I've bought stuff off of people. In fact, that's where a couple of my airbrushes have come from, you know, and because, you know, airbrushes, they don't break. It just might need replacement nozzle and needle, and away you go.
As I say, I bought a few second-hand airbrushes. As you know, my collection is more than
Extensive.
filled.
It's like mine.
expensive.
Yeah.
If £200 is a budget that can't budge, I've got these Fengda thing without a tank.
Yeah.
I went cheap and I thought, right, I can get one potential problem out of the way by not having a tank, but this thing is, I mean, it puts air out.
Yeah, that's it. And that's all you need.
Whether it'll do that in 18 months' time or not, I just don't know. So that the old adage is buy cheap, buy twice, isn't it?
Yep.
So it could be a false economy, but if you need a compressor, I needed a compressor. I didn't have much money. I did go for one of these generic Chinese ones off Amazon. And if you read the reviews, they seem okay for some people, not for others. It's got a moisture trap on it. You know, it's not got a tank.
It's going to do a job for an amount of time, isn't it?
Yeah. So if
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think if I sort of do the old depreciation, if it lasts 2 years, that's cost me £70 a year. And that's not cheaper than getting a better compressor. You know, think of it like that, is it?
No.
I mean that, but if you listen to Nathan's compressor then, if I just turn mine on now,
Hold on, let me get my ear cans on.
Yeah, hold on. Turn speakers down, everyone.
can you hear mine?
I can't hear it.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
do
nice.
your airbrush. Empty
Now
your
Now
airbrush.
try switching it on.
Yeah.
Go on, say Alexa, switch the compressor on.
That was a good try, Andy, but you didn't fool nobody.
Yeah.
Alexa, turn on compressor.
Brace yourself, everyone.
Actually, can't hardly hear that. That is pretty
He's
quiet.
got a rug over it, has he?
He's put it in Sam's room, got a really
Yeah,
long
yeah.
hose.
That's in the garage.
I mean, mine's not got a tank, and it's obviously the problem with the tank not having a tank is you have that pulse. But I've solved that with a long hose.
Yeah.
But if you're going to limit yourself to £200 and you can't budge, I'm thinking tip more of that towards the airbrush and less to the compressor.
Corey says, bloody hell, Andy, my Alexa is going mental now.
We can set off everybody's Siri.
Yes.
Phil, just do us a favour.
Yes.
Can you nip to our shop, please? Time is it? Just while I remember that what we've got.
Where do you want to go?
No, good to new arrivals for one. If they're there, I just want to point something out to people, if they're interested. The Ashima Range Rover.
Oh.
I don't know about that.
And also, if you go into Ashima themselves, we've got the MGBs back in as well, which Phil might show in a bit. But yeah, we've got the Range Rover.
Didn't I do the review of the other one? Didn't they do another
Yeah.
one of these?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the green one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the green one. Yeah, it's the 3-door,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
This one's blue.
Oh, right. Hold on, let me find Ashima.
This.
Obviously makes a lot of
Oh,
difference.
hold on.
Oh, sugar.
Hold on, no.
No,
Maybe
they're
the
into
one-
the Shima. It's in miscellaneous products.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought
they weren't got an Ashima.
section.
Have
Oh,
we got
we
an
need,
Ashima section?
need an Ashima section. I can't even say.
Miscellaneous.
That's full, isn't it?
Down, Phil.
Hold on.
It's in alphabetical order. It's M.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, look, there's me creepy cute.
Jesus Christ. Can I just point out that my learned colleague bought this?
I just think that's brilliant. They do Penelope pit stops, and who's the bloke in it? Peter Perfect's
That's it.
kit. I mean, they must be old from obviously the 60s or whatever, but I just think that's brilliant.
I had to change
Gruesome
twice.
and little gruesome.
Hey, that would be a cool weathering project.
It would.
Were you on drugs? Were you
Hey, the
drunk at the
weathering
time,
project.
Matt?
Brilliant. There's the miscellaneous stuff that nobody really goes in. You don't go too far down the bottom. We're out of a load of that. And then
There
if
it
you
is.
go
There's the
into-
other one. That's the review I did.
Yes.
Yeah. My 10 got roof rack.
Oh. Yeah,
That's
I've got
great.
roof rack on that one. That's the
Tell you what
difference.
and I'll tell you what that one ain't got as well. Corgis.
Oh, yeah. Has it got a shooting set in the boot?
Yeah, it's got tweed. Going to AFV Club. Please. So, we've got in at the top, look, the Scorpions, the Scimitars, and the Centurions.
Very nice.
So, the Scorpions and the Scimitar, and then obviously the Scimitar 2, which Gecko are doing, which should be out soon as well, but that's the original Scimitar 1, I presume.
Yes.
Got them back in.
Mhm.
So, if you're interested in those,
Very
grab
nice.
them while they're in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, limited
We'll be
numbers.
back into actually stocking AFV Club soon. We've got a good source from there.
Yes. Very nice indeed. And don't forget, 10% off everything today, everyone.
Panzer ones will be in,
Yes.
sharpish.
And obviously, special offers. These aren't 10% off because they're specialed anyway, so they're probably better than 10%. So,
Like,
Yeah.
oh, do you want a meat chopper? Because we can get you one in.
do I want to what?
I'm talking to Paul Selwood. If he wants a meat chopper, we'll get you one in at the sale price.
Where can we get that from? Asda or B&Q or...
Well, you know, I was just going to go on Amazon, to be honest, while I'm sat on my computer. So yeah, just want to point that out while I remember.
Yes, definitely. Oh, right.
I think his
Okay.
meat chopper's coming back out actually, Paul. The Dragon one, which is quite a good kit, but it's probably about the same price now as the AFE Club. So
Can you get the AFE Club ones, can you?
yeah,
All right.
that's
I
what
just
I'm
thought that
saying.
was limited stuff that you could get at the moment. That's why you got them.
No, that was just what I got the other day. But
Yeah.
if you want, say, you know, an
Yeah.
off track with a gun on the
Pick.
back, you can get one. So yes.
Very nice indeed.
Oh God, blooming cough.
Right, okay, so Go on. This is plan of action, so we can all talk at the same time as I do it, so I don't bore everyone to death. But this is my Spitfire, which is looking very, very nice. And my plan is to make this look like that with the weathering. Because obviously, let's face it, the Vulcan's very nice, but it does need some weathering because it just looks a little bit sort of boring a little bit by it. So what I was going to do was, because it's quite a long old job, I can sort of weather and show you how I sort of do my weathering on this type of thing. At the same time as obviously we can talk and answer questions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. I will go on full screen and everything else when we're a little bit closer to go, but I thought it'd be quite a little interesting way, because obviously this one has had Flory Models wash. It's had a coat of dark dirt right over it, which is just done the panel lines, which if you watched yesterday's freebie section on this, it covered that completely. So that's that one in there. The underside, to be honest, I did different type of weathering under there. That's just the wash, because I thought it'd be clever. So this has just got the wash under here, giving that sort of grimy effect and everything else. Again, there's a video all about that. But what I thought I would do is the top side and weather in. So what I'm going to do is literally half, and then we can do a side-by-side comparison of how we do it and how we go about it. So that's my plan for the sort of morning's little tutorial on. But as I say, I will go full screen and everything else once I'm set up and you can see a little bit more closer, shall we say. So hopefully the guys can keep an eye on chats and the various bits and pieces and shout out questions.
Yeah.
Just talking about the border models Lank. Apparently it's been they are having copper metal gun barrels in the limited edition first runs.
Right.
It's another 50p in the jar.
Does anybody know?
That'd be enough to buy one of this kit. This regular with 50p going in the jar.
What colour these rockets are off one of them? Nebelwerfer thing, or however you pronounce it. You know, was on the back of the arc, you know.
Pass.
People know that one.
That's well above my pay grade.
The little rockets, look. Does anybody know what colour they are? I need to paint some.
In Germans would be probably.
RMO2, which shade, Dirk? Which shade? Early, late? Green.
Would they all been the same colour?
Yeah, it's green.
Field grey.
Field grey. So we've gone from field grey, and green. I'm thinking that could be right.
Something grey.
You decide. I might do them red. just
It's one of those where it can't go wrong. Yeah? If it's in the tube, what does it matter?
And look at one here, Matt, and the ends of them are yellow.
Oh, okay. Just to answer Nick's question, we think the trumpeter electric drills are discontinued, or there's a manufacturing issue, and that's why we haven't got any.
No.
Because where we get our stuff from has not had any for months and months since pandemic, really. So I don't know if it's been discontinued, because everything else has been back in stock. So
Red oxide. Red oxide would be a cool colour because the contrast with the tank. It's not a tank, is it? But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, Nick, to be honest, because them little drills are really handy things to have. But yeah, hopefully it's a manufacturing thing.
Yes.
And not they've been dropped, because I'd be surprised if they have, but we'll see.
As I say, I use mine literally all the time. And what I'm amazed is that this thing cuts through proper, like I've got a saw on mine. I was cutting through a load of resin the other day, and it did as good as my Dremel. So,
yeah.
But the variable speed's good. It's a shame if they have discontinued it, I tell you, because I use mine all the time.
I hope they haven't.
I swear this Lancaster swear jar's going to be up to like 20 quid by the end of the show.
We'll be able to buy one at this rate.
Well, at this rate, we can buy one from the kitty.
Matt, I found a picture of a Nebelwerfer rocket.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's closer to XF26.
Share screen.
Will it mess everything up?
Go on, square screen. I'll have to do it this end as well.
Bouncing bomb, Roger.
Yeah, they modified it. What was the name of the Dam Buster version? Because they took
Upkeep.
the bomb bay out, didn't they? And
It was called the Upkeep, wasn't it?
for the so they took the turrets out as well, didn't they? On the Dam Buster one, the
Top turret was removed, yeah.
top turret was gone, and the bomb bay was completely redesigned to fit these. They look like massive.
Okay, Andy,
holes.
thanks, mate.
It could be dark RLMO2, couldn't it?
Well,
I'm
that could be
thinking
wrong.
I'm thinking XF26.
Oopsies, they're wrong.
XF26, dark green, deep green,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. I mean, do you know how much you're actually going to see?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That
Do one
little
special.
bit there at the end.
Yeah, the tip.
So I spent the last
Well, not
couple
even
of
the tip, because they're shoved in the back, aren't they? You just see the end, like the back end of them where they get low. Right.
John Nichols' book on the Lancaster is well worth a read. Actually, I read that the past couple of weeks on the train, and it's obviously he's interviewed lots of veterans for his book on the Lancaster, and there's some amazing stories from the cruise,
Yeah, look,
especially the ones that got captured.
the man's on it, Kev.
Tim, is it your sound or ours then? Tim is just saying there's very little sound.
Yeah, can everyone else hear us?
Can
okay?
everyone else hear us? Give us a thumbs up if our sound's fine, guys. Wait for the delay.
All right. Mm.
Sound all good.
Yeah, sounds okay.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
Sounds good.
Tim, must be your end. Turn your sound up.
Yeah, just check your sound settings in Windows or whatever.
Right, just grab the camera a second, guys. Right, okay, so this is my Lancaster. As I say, plan of action is we're going to go not quite as heavily weathered as this thing is, but we're going to put on this fine stuff down in here, which I always use oils for. The great thing about using oils is at the end of the day, if it does go completely wrong, you can just wipe it all off and start again. So that's the nice thing to it. So, you know, if you used to be airbrushing this on, trying to get it off again is going to be a bit of a nightmare. So again, you can do it quite heavily like I did over here, or you can keep it quite subtle as I did it on this side. So it depends which way you want to go through with it. So as I say, I've been a real fan of oils for the last sort of 4 or 5 years now. Never used to, I used to airbrush everything, but it's just a little bit safer. So for this, we've got the good old Abteilung 502s, as well as, I've got other ones as well, just to show, because we're not biased. Got the AK ones, which I don't think you can get anymore, but they're quite good, and everything. So colours I tend to use all the time for this is neutral grey, which is actually like light buff, but it works great on grey, and it works on green as well, so that's quite nice. And we got some shadow brown, which I'm going to need some more of soon, or what they call smoke. So down in here, it says ABT 005, I think it is.
Can I just say, Phil,
Yes.
you know the colour you need if you ain't got it? Sepia.
Oh, right, okay.
Seriously, it's one of them sort of really dark browny black,
Yes.
but it's a cracking colour, really good. So that's what you need.
Cool. Okie dokie. We'll get some of that as well. I'm a bit limited. I haven't got many of them, to be honest. The other things are X20 thinners, not X20A, X20. So this is literally acrylic, enamel thinners. All right. Your other option, of course, is you can go with like low odor thinners and all the rest of it. But to be honest, I always find X20 works really well. So I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah,
So-
X20 comes with the blue lid.
Yes, that's it. I have the lid. There's the lid. Blue lid.
Hey, it'd be even more fantastic if we could stock it.
All right. Sorry. Other ones are available. What have we got? Other ones?
Try selling the Abteilung odorless thinner.
Oh, right.
The last time I got one of those off eBay, it came in a blooming jiffy bag with an hole in it. I don't know how it made it here. But you can get them from certain sellers in the Far East on eBay. If you put an eBay alert on for the Tamiya what's the code on the bottle? Is it 800-040? I've put an eBay alert on. I'd say they seem to appear on eBay once every couple of months or so. I get a notification that someone's got it.
All right.
So it is a bit of a bugger getting it, but it can be done.
So what we're going to do is just going to take a little bit on the brush, nothing over the top, and we're just going to make up a simple little wash. So we just pop it down in here and make sure you are completely mixed together. So you don't want any lumps and bumps and anything else or anything like that. So what we tend to do is I have 2 puddles of enamel thinners, just like this. So this wash, you want it to be, we're going to over here, about this. It's quite thick, because this will dry back quite a lot, but also we're going to sort of blur it around a bit, if that makes sense. So we just go in with here. So we're going to use this as our sort of mixing brush, but as you can see, it's about the consistency of, I don't know, semi-skim milk.
Excuse me.
So that just goes down in there like that. So remembering, don't forget, oils in any shape or form take forever to dry, and enamels take quite a long time to dry as well. So just be mindful of that when you're using and handling and all the rest of it. You don't want to be putting your finger in it and those types of things. So you've got two ways of putting this on. You can either come in basically with it neat and just blur it in. So if I just show you on here, where's my magnifier so I can see. Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll put on my proper glasses so that way I won't have my magnifiers in the way. Shout if my head gets in the way. So
I just want to see any glasses. Put your screen on.
Head? I can't see with them the other way round. What, these ones?
Yeah, look at him now.
Yeah.
He looks half intelligent.
Looks quite posh. That's it, these make me look intelligent. So all we're going to do is going to take a little bit of oil. We're not taking tons. And then what we're going to do is, this is where I get all messy doing this. We're just going to almost dry brush it off a bit, but we're not taking it all off, but we want to take a little bit off, all right? So you just have it like this. And then what you can actually do is come along with the panel line, and we're just going to lightly brush it along the panel line. So we're going to go through the decal to show it here. In fact, if I go for the closer one, you might be able to see a bit better. All right, so we're just going to come along here, and and it doesn't matter if you go too much or too little or anything else. We're just going to put it along, and you can come along like that. And then what you can do is you can take another brush. So this is just a normal clean dry brush, and we're going to go with the direction of the panel line, and we're just going to blur it. So you just take that oil and you just literally work it along, and this is one of those things, it's nice and subtle, but it will leave a little bit of fogging behind as you make your way through, and over time your brush will start to pick it up as well, just the edge of the brush you can see on there, and that will start to wear it in, so you can actually wear down certain areas. So this particular decal, we're just going to go over it just to dirty it down again. And again, if you don't like it and it's not going right, you can use your finger, which is a great way just to bring it back a little bit, or you can just wipe it off and go through. So that's sort of one way of doing it and putting it all on. My preferred method, or the second method I should say, of doing it is you can just come along with your brush, okay, and then this has just got a little bit of the wash that we made up before on here, and we can just start to work it along in the same fashion. So we're just going to put it down and over all of this, and you can just work it all the way around. So it's acting a bit like a pin wash system onto it. And then what we'll do is we will let this slightly dry back, and it takes around about sort of 5-10 minutes to slightly dry back. And as it all starts to dry back, you can then blend and blur it again and go through the sort of all the different areas with it. So we just come along and join up these areas. So again, you'll know when it is, because it sort of transfers from being glossy as you look at it and looking wet to it just sort of fades back and gives you a satin look. So as soon as that starts to happen, then what you can do is then really come in with it and you just sort of buff it back again. So you use a clean brush and you're just going to be brushing at it to make it come back just like that. My preferred method though, the one that I use, the third method of doing it this way, if we just move this down a little bit, is we just take some of the clean thinners that we got just down here at the side. If I go a bit bigger just to show you. So this is just clean thinners down in here, nothing on it at all. And then what we're going to do is wipe off pretty much all of it. So you've got nothing really on the brush, you've got very, very little. And then all we're going to do is coat the entire wing area. And don't forget, this has got clay wash on here, but as long as you don't mess around with it too much, it should be absolutely fine. And being obviously this is enamels, the great thing to this is that it doesn't dry instantly. It takes quite a bit to dry again. So then what you can do is pick up that wash we had before. Make sure you always keep mixing it because it does separate. Then we just pick it up on the brush, and then all we're going to do is we're going to start to wipe this down and in, and we're just going to drag it literally around, and what happens is it blurs and it fades and it sort of welts its way down and all the rest of it into all the areas. And that's the thing, because you've got the actual wash in there, you can go along, and then you can actually just sort of tappy motions just to put it in quite thinly, and then again you can go right the way over the darker colours, and then obviously go over the lighter colours, so forth and so on. So we just pick up a little bit more, And then again, we're just going to bring it all the way down along here. Sorry, that's my other half saying she's probably at breakfast. At work. And then we're just going to come along with all of these. Just down in here. And this works both directions. Like at the moment we're just using this for the grey and the green, using a darker colour. So this is going to cause shadowing around the panel line and in the area as well. So we can just keep going along. And again, the clay wash which is under here shouldn't be affected at all. It should literally just all go the sort of same. But because you've got the enamel thinners everywhere on this, what will happen is that if you do overdo it, it just sort of blurs into each other. And you can just sort of go along and put all of this in. And if you wanted to, you could pick out the middles of panels as well. So if you wanted to make them a little bit, you know, if you've got a large panel area like in here, you can just sort of come along with it. And as this begins to dry back, what you can actually do is physically get amongst it and start to sort of stipple it and break it down and all these areas. And again, you don't have to do it with thinners. We'll do this area over here without thinners just to show. But I find with the thinners on it as well, you just sort of get that nice sort of grimy look to it, because it's sort of, you can probably see it up here, it's sort of bleaching into itself. Let me just pick up a little bit more. And again, it's just a case of coming down. But I tend to do this sort of little stipply type effect with it, just so it just gives it that uneven, non-uniform look to it. Because if you just brushed it on, you're going to end up with lines, and that's not what we want. And then the great thing is, because deep down this is just an oil under here, we can blend, we can maneuver it round, we can change it or do anything to it. Viewers of the Thursday night show will know that one.
Yeah.
And again, things like vortex generators here on top of the wings and things like that, you can just, you know, basically come along with a little bit more and it'll cling around the heads and the various things. And again, if you're using a wipe technique, you can get the streaking effect from it as well. So again, we're just going to load up with a little bit of thinners on here. We'll just do down the back here. But again, you don't have to do this thing about preloading it. You can just do it completely afterwards if you wanted to. But I just think it gives a nicer type look. And it blends it a bit better.
Phil, what would you do to fade the whole wing to look like the Spitfire?
Sorry, do what?
What would you? How would you fade the whole wing? The question from Alan. You needed to fade the whole big area, I imagine.
Again, you could obviously start off with, if you wanted to, is just do the entire area in a lighter paint colour when you're starting the paintwork. But if you would, like down on here, as you'll see, it's quite a big area, and it's one of those things, you're looking at it close up. When you move further back, it sort of blends in and it sort of grimes in a little bit more. But it's this sort of situation where if you're doing something big, I will usually lighten the paint colour before I even start. And then when you're putting washes on, it darkens it a little bit. So you're on the right ballpark. But if you wanted to, you could do like a filter system of just coming up with, you know, a little bit of lighter stuff, which we'll do in a minute anyway. I'll show you that, because we're going to come amongst some of these bigger panels and things like that, and with the greens and that, with some of the different shades and things.
And just have a look at chat a minute. Just to Adrian. Yeah, we'll do that, mate, no problem. Sorry, Phil, carry on.
All right. What does he want?
Just to combine them, that was all.
Oh, right, okay.
So thanks for the orders.
Thank you. Yeah, keep the orders coming.
Yeah, thanks for all the orders that's coming in. It's there's a few.
Happy days.
So,
So I'll just charging my silent compressor up.
That's what they're heating
you
on.
muted, were you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just put a little bit just round on these, and we'll just do a little bit down in here. And again, because the other ones are coming through quite nicely. So again.
Trumpet scrapers, Matt, when we're getting them back in stock. We've got an order to go in with them soon, haven't we? So
Yeah. Yeah, soon.
we'll probably put an order in this week, but it takes a while.
Probably a week or so to come through.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we've definitely got to put an order in, so they will be back in.
Watch this space.
Yes.
Right, okay, this is sort of working quite nicely now. So if we just zoom in again, you can see this section in here is drying. So what you can do is grab yourself a dry brush, clean brush. And I usually have quite an old nasty one for this. I know most of my brushes are nasty and that, but this is literally just for buffing. And then what you're going to do is avoid the ones that are wet down in here, but I'm sort of doing it all in once. And then what you're going to do is just going to come along and going to fade this in. So you're just going to give it a very light rub. And that will take out these bigger areas. And obviously I'm rubbing this way, so you've got that direction of airflow business. But again, if you come in too soon, what happens is this will happen, but you can drag it. And you can come in with weathering and streaking and stuff like that, which always looks quite good. And again, but you want to keep the brush dry for just buffing it back. So you're just knocking back where it's a little bit sharp. So you can actually blend and it will stay, and you just gently build this up. And what we'll do the greeny bits in a minute with a little bit of grey, which sounds counterintuitive to what you're doing. But again, over here, sorry you can't quite see at the top, but over here you can see this. So what you can do is take that dry brush you've got and we're going to stipple. So this is the other way. You can sort of stipple the areas to blend them in as well. So
can I just quickly jump in, Phil? Sorry.
Yeah.
Tony, can you just send a PM to Andy just to save that? Because by the time this is done, I'll have forgot and it'll probably end up going out. And also to Paul, does anybody know what Mark Spitfires are in that Eagle call boxing from Edard?
Find out. It's
Nathan's
different
going
art,
to be on
isn't
it.
it?
Just chuck it in chat. And I think Tom was just asking about the Daz Work Stug again. I've got to find out because we can only get Daz Work from one supplier. So I need to find out for you next week. Again, chuck us PM over so we don't forget. Apparently it's a Mark, VC and a VB Dirk's put.
2 Mark 5s then.
2 Mark 5s, yeah.
Nice.
So, again, obviously with that Stug, I don't know if it's not available now because it's a Tackham kit, isn't it? So I don't know if Tackham is just re-releasing it as one of their Blitz kits. I'm not 100%, but we'll send an email over and find out next week. Okay, sorry Phil, carry on.
No, it's fine. So yeah, we're just literally just going round now and we're blending and we're doing all our bits. So we've got all the shadowy bits in, if you like. And again, as these streaky ones we did dry, we can just sort of blend them a little bit more. And off of all these areas, and you're just knocking back the effect of it. So you're blurring the lines between the panel line wash, which is obviously quite a strong finish because it's just in the panel lines, to everywhere else now. So that's those all in. And then, like all good magicians, I should have here one I did earlier, but I don't, so we're going to have to push through. But we just get all of this on, so we got some grime appearing now and everything else. And then what you can start to do is rub in off on a paper towel, take it any off, and we can start to blend in areas which are too heavy. So we're just coming in between these lines just a little bit down in here, and we're just going to come off the middles, just taking off these types of areas. Again, and here on the back we're just going to brush to get the streakiness coming in, because obviously we've got the speed brake, so I'm imagining kicking up rubbish. So we just go with direction of airflow, and again we've got a little bit too much in there, so we blend, so the oils will release up. If you find you get an area it's a little bit stiff, then you can just get in there with a cotton bud with a little bit of thinners on it, and away you go. So that's sort of phase one of it. And again, Okay, so what we're going to do is now repeat that with the neutral grey just down in here, and then this will act like a contrast to the other side as well. So what we will do is we'll just grab a little bit of thinners over here, and then we will grab our, I can't remember which brush we even use for this, this one here. So literally good old blob. So probably need a little bit more thinners than that. But this is one of those areas where you can add, you can subtract, you can go back and forth all the time with this. It's not one of those ones where it's like a, you know, one and done and you're out the door with it. You're going to have to keep working at it. So sometimes you might notice that it's drying back really, really light and you want to add a little bit more depth to it, so forth and so on. So definitely one of those areas where, you know, there's no right or wrong really to it. It's just what your eye likes and how you're liking how it's turning out. So again, we're just going to grab a little bit of the actual, this is the light wash, and we're just going to come along, and to be honest, I've got way too much on there. And we're just going to pop it in the centres of these. So we're not going to go right up to the edge, but we're avoiding the panel lines because this is designed for the centres. Again, we're using these on the green, but technically you could use them absolutely anywhere. And what it'll do, it acts like a mini filter really at the end of the day.
Tell you what, oil paint's one of the most versatile products you can have in your
Yes, definitely.
in your repertoire, shall we say, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it
Yeah.
does do, like you say, washers, filters.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's just endless, to be
Yeah.
Wood
honest.
effects and everything. There's so much with wood effects with oils are so easy.
Yeah,
Do you know the razor saws that we sell? You know the CMK ones?
yeah.
Which one's the finest? Is it the 004s?
To be honest with that.
That's the one we sell an absolute load of, Ed. Which I think that's the multi-pack where you get 3 different ones in it. I think. 'Cause I'm not sure off the top of my head what the things are. Because it goes off the teeth, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's how many teeth per centimetre,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Somebody will do a bit of research and tell you in a minute, I'm sure.
So, usual thing as I'm doing, I'm sort of just stippling it. Really, it's just so it doesn't bulge or collect in one area, which is probably why I've got no decent brushes. You sort
Yeah.
of-
Them, the synthetic, I can't even say things. Somebody say it for me.
synthetic brushes.
That's the ones that are the best for oil paints, because oil paints can be a bit rough on your brushes. And probably not best to use your best Kolinsky sables, shall we say.
No.
And again, if you're scrubbing and rubbing around like what Phil's doing,
Yeah.
then, you know, they ain't gonna last long, are they?
No.
You want a hard wearing brush. I've got that many mouse and tabs open at the minute. So, excuse me. God, go away.
And again,
But
this is one of those areas where it's really, really safe to do this. I wouldn't worry about it too much when you know, don't be thinking, oh, look, it's all going horrendously wrong and looking, you know, pretty grim and all the rest of it. Because it goes through. But hopefully you can see it just down in here. We've got the lighter one now going on, and it's just going to lighten everything up as we make our way around on this. So all we're doing is literally just grabbing a little bit on here for these grey areas, for the green areas, and the grey will just blend in all amongst it. But a bit like we do with the wash, you sort of, you know, if you've got too much in an area, just go back and grab it and use it somewhere else. But you just want to get that thin little coat on there, and it will stay and it will stick. But the great thing is it won't matter too much if you're in other areas, because you can use this over the greys as well. And theoretically you could go around everywhere and stick it on the greys and everything, but you just want more centres of panels with it as it goes in. But with each coat you're sort of just bearing down, weathering down. So over here we've got quite the large area back here on this sort of flapper rod, so we're just gonna give it a bit down in there, a little bit on this one here, and again this is just the neutral greys. But anywhere that's got big areas, it's nice just to break them up a little bit, just to give them a little bit more depth into your paintwork. But like we said before, paintwork is that thing. The more layers you have on it, the more depth you have on it, the more the eye has to move, the more you sort of trick the mind to thinking it's got more detail than it has. And again, same thing, if you find you've got an area and it's looking too dark, just put the grey wash around it and just rehydrate it, and then take it back off again. So what we'll do is we'll just let that dry a bit. I'll move this out of the way and show the camera so you can see it a bit more. But hopefully you can see what we're sort of achieving here. You're breaking it down and blending it down, and when you look at the other side, so then hopefully if we go like this, you can start to see what we're achieving here. It's just subtle, you know, we're not trying to suddenly make this thing look horrendous because of the scale fact. If it's 32nd like we did on the spit, then yeah, you're going to be right on top of it. But we got this thing about just trying to blend it together, and as it dries, catch it in the light, you can see where it's drying back. And again, we're going to come in and blend. We can then come in with neats just to add a little bit more detail here and there, just to go through. But like this area down the back here, we've got a little bit of blob going on. We're just going to manoeuvre that round to go in. But you know, you can probably see it's quite strong down on this edge, and we're going to blend all of that around in a minute. But hopefully you can see on the close-up, obviously that's what we've got there versus normal. That's it, normal. This is what we've got going on. But again, from 3 feet away you can't really see it. And then we'll just blend all this back together. Then we're going to come in with a little bit more shading work to really sort of bring it to life. So yes, we'll just wait for a few moments just for that to dry back a little bit. So good to go. How are we doing?
All right, yeah.
Right. I'll just
There you go. Look, the razor saws are the I just spoke about the 1004s, ultra fine and extra fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one we sell the most of, so I presume, you know, that's the one you want. Yes. All right, okay, take that back. The 1005s is the ultra razor smoother, the highest tooth per inch millimeter.
Into
Go ahead. Pardon?
Into 1,000. Yeah, is it? Well, God knows. H1000. See, I've got single packets, not multi packets, so mine are
Yeah.
like different numbers.
Nathan's pulling out boxes left, right, and centre, wondering what to do.
Yeah, I did tell you I was this morning procrastinating.
So I've got projects all over the place at the minute.
Yeah.
Actually, finish something.
I don't know. And the whole morning doing absolutely nothing.
That's about right.
Yeah. And then something else. I'll wake up tomorrow morning and I should have done that.
I know what's your urge?
Yes.
That's the problem. I kind of like that.
Do you have an itch you need to scratch?
Yeah.
Weirdly, a Lancaster, but I've not got one.
Really?
I was reading this book. I spent 2 weeks going to work because I've got like about 40 minutes a day on the trains. So I read John Nichols' Lancaster book, and there was a story of a Lancaster that got shot down over France, and the gist of it was the Lancaster exploded and the pilot was just stuck in midair and suddenly just sort of free fall into the ground. Those things went off like blooming Roman candles once they'd been hit. And unfortunately, not all the crew made it out, but obviously when Lancaster got shot at, it was an absolute sod to get out. Like the crew had to find their parachute, put the parachute on, and then all get out of 2 hatches. I think the crew were half out, and the pilot was the last one out to keep it straight and level. And it just literally, the Lancaster just exploded from around him. And there he was floating through the air with, thankfully, pilots had their parachutes strapped onto them. They sat on it, and he was just like hanging round, and suddenly there's no Lancaster. And he's just in the middle air, and he landed in France. I think he was the one that landed in France. But John Nichols did this book about the Lancaster, but a lot of it is built around the story of a few crews and their sort of memories. He spent a bit of time back 10 years ago interviewing all these bomber command crews. Some of the stories in this book are amazing. I'll not spoil it, because if you get the book, I don't want to spoil the book, but it's well worth the read. And then obviously with this, I finished this book last week. This Lancaster news explodes all over the modelling community. I'm like, what fancy building the Lancaster?
Yeah, that's it.
Not got one.
I must admit, a very dear old friend of ours, family friend, who passed away a few years ago, he was a Lancaster wireless operator. And I know I've told the guys who probably heard this a million times, but used to share the war stories with him. And he moved because his daughter married a US naval officer. And he moved out to sort of Key West area in Florida. And he was like, well, his retirement community's there. And like he was saying, it's great because obviously they're all like B-17 crew, and obviously B-24 and stuff like that. And they had a right community of them, of old bomber crews, going through, swapping wartime stories and stuff like that. And, but it was absolutely great. But the first 2 missions he flew, he had to bail out from both. Jeez. So first time he bailed out was they actually got caught engine fire and lost 2 engines. So they bailed out over the channel coming back. Literally, they limped it as far as they could, and that was it. So they bailed out, and he was knocked unconscious when he hit the water, because a sou'wester came up and literally knocked him out. He doesn't remember a thing of that until he was on shore. He got picked up by a RAF launch, went out and got him. And then the second time coming back, they took bad damage again on the second mission, and he bailed out. The pilot stayed in and the flight engineer, but they managed to land it back in the UK, but they didn't think they could. So the pilot told them to get out, and same thing, they bailed out, and they were picked up by a fishing boat on that particular trip and made it back. But they said that after that, for the remaining of the war, luckily they were okay. Obviously they took damage, but never had to get out of the aircraft and things like that. But his first 2 missions, he had to bail out both times. So
Can I just answer something quick? The starter sets are in stock. We have them in because Phil's had his restock of.
Yes, that's what I was doing all week.
Skinny number 14. So yes, we have the starter sets in stock, the full packs, everything is in stock. So James has asked because he wants to complete an order. And then somebody's asking about Etileri brushes.
I like them.
They're good.
I've got some here.
They're really, the blue-handled brushes are really good. Weathering and, general brushes, aren't they?
Yes.
And then Dirk's asked me about painting an RAF uniform in Vallejo. I've got to be honest, Dirk, I don't know off the top of my head. Because if I was at home, well, not that, I've got a shed. I had my colours lined up, so I'd just pick one. And I'd probably pick like Prussian blue and go from there. Start with Prussian blue and then just use shades of blue to lighten and darken it, do you know what I mean? So that would be my guess off the top of my head without having any reference here.
So I think a wireless operator is lucky to get out of Lancaster twice.
Well, like he said, I think he said there's 3 humps you have to get over, isn't it? 3 spars. One of them is like cables, communication and all the rest of it. Then you've got the secondary spar and then the main wing spar.
Yeah.
But like he always said, in some ways he had the best seat in the house because apparently it was the warmest place of a Lancaster.
That's something else these people talked about. Is some of the crews would be freezing cold.
Yeah.
Others would be boiling up because the ergonomics of a Lancaster were shocking, really, weren't they?
Yeah, because he used to say that. He used to actually, it's one of the things I remember him always saying. He goes, out of it all, he was probably one of the luckier ones because one is that he had a little bit of armour with him. So he had the armoured bit behind him. Apparently only him and the pilot had armoured bits. And also, as he said, as long as everything was okay, he was pretty warm each flight because something to do with the engines, it's the warmest place on a Lancaster. But he said, as for the rest of the crew, you know, you've got like 0.5 mil of aluminium around you or a bit of plastic and that's it. Bit of plexiglass and that's your lot. So...
Yeah. There's a book. I won't spoil the book in case someone wants to buy it, but it's really good. The sort of to tell the story of the Lancaster through the people.
Yes.
Like it gets a little bit hard to follow because it jumps from one crew to another. Like there's a crewman from the sort of Caribbean, and then a lot of it's built around a rear gunner.
Mm-hmm.
And then it jumps from crew to crew. So you do get a bit mixed up when you're reading the book, which crew member you're reading. But some of the escape stories are more interesting as well. They got shot down. The Germans at one point didn't treat them very kindly. Would lynch them.
No.
So it was like you had to hope the German army found you before the locals did.
Yeah.
You had a sticky ending if the locals found you first.
Mm-hmm.
But it's well worth a read. His books are well written.
Right, if I just finish off this bit here. So hopefully you guys can now see how we've faded in the green now. So the green's got this slightly weathered hue into it, absolutely everywhere. And you can see this is how we sort of bleach back. So of course, if you wanted to, you could go in there and, you know, lighten up your paintwork and do post shading, but you can do it with oils. And as we said before, you could wipe all of this off at any time. So this is a bit just down in here. So what we tend to do is, as I say, nice clean brush. And then you can literally work at it. So you can either sort of re-speckle it a little bit. So you just sort of come in and you can sort of jab at it and all the rest. Or you can just literally brush it just to sort of fade it back just a little bit. So, you know, you're not trying to wipe it all away. You're just trying to encourage it to blend. And then again, you can just sort of come in with these areas and you just fade back that sort of speckling that you've done to it all. So it all just sort of fades in a little bit. And again, if it's too strong, you can just keep rubbing at it and it will give. But another little technique is get your finger in there. You can actually blend it with your finger, which is one of my sort of favourite ways of doing it, just to get it going. And that's all faded back now. So you've got that contrast, and then you can just flip back if you wanted to. As we were saying before, you can literally pick up a little bit of neat oils. So we just got a little bit on a brush here. If we do one area, and I'll carry on off camera, and then what you can do with it neat, because in the panel line it will still be slightly wet, you can add a little bit more depth and things down in here. So we're just going to pop along like this, like we showed you with the first time, just to add a little bit more. So maybe you want to add it on the green, or maybe you want to add it right the way over. It's personal choice, but you can sort of come along with all of these, and we're just going to pop it in. To be honest, this is a wet bit just down in here, you can probably see it. And then in, and then obviously we're going to take a little bit off the back of the controls, and we're just going to put a little bit just in these. I do this quarter, and hopefully you guys can keep up with it. And then again,
I think oils are a better way of post shading.
Yeah.
Than with an airbrush. I think you've got more control.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I think if it goes wrong, you've got a safety net.
Yeah, it's a lot less risky. It's slower, but if you go, like if they go wrong, you can wipe it off.
Yeah.
Do it with an airbrush, you're stuck.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Very therapeutic.
Hey, I hope Shell knows we can all lip read.
It's alright, they can't see.
You think you're on camera.
Will can't see. Oh, it's cold. Yeah, James has just put here, a good friend who passed away 20 years ago was a tail gunner in a Lancaster. After the war, he was a stand-up comedian, and he's honed his art by using it to deal with the fear. It was the way crews would take their minds off the reality of sitting in the pitch black, anticipating an attack at any moment from a night fighter, not to mention the cold and the flak.
I'll tell you what, that's got to be the worst one, isn't it? Being a tail gunner on a lank.
On your own at the back, aren't you?
Crikey, you're on your own back there, aren't you? It's a long way back.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't know how they did it. I really don't.
So, right, there we go. So you're doing something like that. Hopefully you can see that sort of fade in that we're achieving. Obviously I've still got to do that centre bit by the engine. So it's really this section here. That's how we've done it as compared to, obviously that's it normally. And that's what we've just achieved down in there. So again, when you go for the 3 foot rule, you know, and again, you can make it as strong or as weak as you want to do it. That's the whole point. Spitfire did quite strong because it's in a larger scale, but the technique is exactly the same right the way through. So obviously you'll just carry that right the way over to the other side, but hopefully you can sort of see the differences. And again, with oils, it's this thing, it's a bit difficult because you're large, but as you maneuver it round, you get the shininess of it still. So you've still got that sort of glossiness coming through and all the grime and that. So the grime is your texture. You want your texture to stay, but just remember it will take forever to dry. It takes days and days and days for this to actually properly dry off, so forth and so on. There we go, that's how I use oils and do my weathering. So yes, in another show I'll do the other half, clearly.
yeah.
So,
Get
yeah,
some
I don't know how it appears on there now. You sort of get that.
You can, because it looks like it's got a filter over the
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell the difference.
my left
Yes.
wing, if that makes sense, because you can tell it's dark. The grey's a different hue, shall we say, to the other side. So yeah,
That's it. But again, it's one of those ones where it's very difficult for cameras to pick up. A lot of the time, like to me, to be honest, it looks like I've overdone it. But on there, I'm looking what you guys can see, and it looks like it's nothing really there. But as I'm looking at it here, thinking that needs rubbing back a little bit. It's a little bit strong at the moment, but yes, good job. Oh.
yeah. Have we had any more posting up showing their stuff?
Shall we have a look? See, hold on. Let me
Yeah,
just
why not?
dive over. Remember, if you want to see your work, just use the hashtag on Instagram, official Flory models. Oh, we've got a cat as well. Right, okay, hold on. So, where are we? Here we go. So that's just down in here. So if we start this is model IG UK, 72nd scale Tonka. Look at that.
Very nice.
617 Squadron. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, can't beat a Gulf Tornado.
Can't, can you?
No,
The proof is in the pudding because that kit has sold and sold and sold, isn't it?
definitely. Very nice indeed. This is from Singa, 1993. We've got here is the Armour Hobbies 72nd Hurricane Mark 1. Very nice indeed. We've only got the one picture there. There you go. I'll heart it. Sorry, I haven't hearted the others. I'll go back and do it. So very nice indeed. Sorry, I've seen that one. Need to go this way. Over here, oh look, a Sterling. Don't see many of them. Short Sterling.
Is that the old Airfix one?
It's the Italeri one.
Is it?
This is the Mark IV hand brush with Tamiya acrylics and Vallejo Model Air. This is from model IG UK.
Well done.
Good build.
Cool build.
The forgotten bomber, isn't it?
It
Tell you
is.
what, why Italeri dropped that kit is beyond me, because it is it.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it looks nice. I used to have I had that kit and sold it. It's a good kit.
Tell you what, I have to say, out the British heavies, the Sterling is the one I would build.
Yes.
I've never been overly fingered with the Lank and the Halifax, but I do like the Sterling for some reason, because it just looks so ungainly and just
Doesn't it?
just odd. But it's funny when you see the pictures of the real one, how actually high they are off the floor.
They do. They are
really
well up in
tall.
the air. Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Right, next up we've got, what's that? Pastry Boy 22. We've got a very nice Starfighter. Very nice indeed. Cool job. Nice paint scheme on that one. Very, very nice
Not too
indeed.
many US ones, do you? Because obviously they didn't have them for very long, but
Very nice. Well, they went National Guard for a while, didn't they?
yeah.
So very, very cool build. Very nicely done. We've got a cat. Oh, look.
Oh, crikey. Cat
Look.
attack.
He's chasing a stick. Is that a sounder? Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Flory, give me stick. Hold on, cat.
Yes. See, look, if that was mine, it would now have been trampled me desk
Yeah.
and everything. So, very, very good. My planes don't fly, that is. Love it. So, we've also got, there he is. Yeah, look, that's a tornado wing set down there, isn't it?
Does look like it.
Official Flory model standing stick, that's it. Very nice.
Got a
Bless
feline
him.
man.
There you go. Very nice. What's the cat called? Oh,
Yeah,
Stitch. There you go. Stitch the cat. Bless. Well done, Stitch. You're a star. Okay, so last up we've got a Jaguar. This is the 72nd Jaguar again. I don't know which kit. I'm assuming it's probably the Hasegawa one, isn't it? Is it?
Well, it's either that or the Italeri one.
Well, yeah.
Or very old Airfix one.
Yes.
The markings look like the Hasegawa one.
Yeah, I think it's the Hasegawa
Oh,
boxing,
well.
isn't it? Which was the Italeri kit, wasn't it?
It's a Hasegawa, it says in the comments there, Hasegawa.
Yeah.
I like the Jaguar. I've got a soft spot for it. Must
Yes.
admit.
Yes. Taste Hasegawa, so yes, we'll go for Hasegawa. You built that, didn't you? Because I gave it you.
I have. It's
Got a mic
you know what,
cast
it's
off.
waiting to be refueled.
I must admit, my one is, I did the two-seater, didn't I? That was alright, that kit. Usual thing, though, it's carrying a French missile. It's always been the downside, because Kitty Hawk did it as well. It had the French loadout, not the UK.
Still on Tom Cordial. We're allowed.
Yes. Very nice job. Cool kit. I must admit, I really enjoyed the two-seater. Because who was the company who did the resin wing set, replacement wing set with the drop flaps and slats?
I'm going to say it's Airwaves.
Was it Airwave? Somebody did it, but they did a resin full set for it, but I can never get hold of one. So very nice indeed. Cool job, everybody. Brilliant work as always. Remember, if you want to get your work seen on here, just post it up to hashtag official Flory models. It'll find its way down in here on Instagram as well. So we can look at your great work down on there. So very good job, everybody. Well done.
Yeah.
I
So-
found my
The ball.
hurricane.
Sorry?
I said
Found
keep posting
the-
them up. Sorry, Lee.
Sorry, go on.
Oh,
There you go. Go for it, Nate.
found my Zvezda Hurricane.
Mhm.
Once it's all together, I think you're going to be hard pressed to tell that's a snap type kit. But lovely surface detail, easy build. And what was it? About a tenner these days?
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
£8.50 something.
Something like that. And it does have the Black Knight fighter markings as well. Obviously one set of... So yeah. More on Zvezda later, I suspect.
Very nice. Cool. Right, okay. Sorry, Matt, what were you saying?
I just said keep posting them up.
Yes,
Yeah.
Pictures so we see them. Yeah.
definitely. Andy's miles away. What's Andy actually doing?
I've been chipping my wheels.
Chipping your wheels.
Chipping my, see if I can get an overhead cam on. No, I've got any connected up.
Mhm.
Oh, it is. There you go.
There you go. Very nice. Oh, there you go. And now he's lost one to the carpet monster. Shell!
Yeah, chipping the wheels.
Nice.
So that's. I've been using lacquer paints and cheap hairspray.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically I painted them all. Originally, I painted them with that,
Mhm.
which is another story, but I will not say that.
For his
Painted them
table.
with that, and then obviously let it dry. Used hairspray, painted them Russian green, which I use the AK Russian modern green. Let it dry, hairspray again. So chipped it back down to the mahogany surface primer. Hairspray again, let it all dry, and then I've used AK Egyptian desert sand, the top colour, and chipped it all back again. So it's got like the 3 different colours on it. Not that you can tell, to be honest with you.
Multi-layer chipping. Then you're going to cover it in dust and wash
Yeah,
it.
they cover it in dust. You can't tell anyway, to be honest with you. It looks,
Yeah, is it going to have a full desert effect?
Yeah.
It's going to be stuck in a sand dune.
I want it to look real wrecked. I mean, I've cut all the fenders off the actual tank thing itself.
Yes.
I call it a tank thing, but it's not a tank, is it? Because it's a anti-aircraft.
Yes.
SPG, is it?
SPG in it, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I cut all the fenders off it, and it's going to be sort of like, really dishevelled and chipped and wrecked, and yeah.
But good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Good job. How's everyone doing at home? They all doing good?
Yeah, chap's doing good.
Good.
James has put his wish list up for Airfix.
Yeah, we've said that, haven't we? If Airfix need to do a Jag.
The 48th Jag, Buccaneer, Jet Provost, and Bristol Bulldog.
And a Wessex.
And a Wessex in
The
72.
whirlwind.
That's tomorrow's hammer from it with loads of requests.
Yeah, that's always going to get hit by, isn't it? His requests. I'll
Yeah,
speak to him later.
do this. 20-year career mapped out by tomorrow afternoon.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I've got my row wheels. They're fair because it's the kit is based on the T55, and this version only has 4 road wheels on each side instead of 5. You got extra road wheels anyway because it's got all the chassis and everything for the T55. But because it was obviously hasn't got the turret on it, it was lighter weight, and they lightened the chassis, made it thinner steel, so it was less armoured, and put less road wheels on it.
No.
You thought it'd just been easier to use the T55, wouldn't you? And then
Yeah.
put a different turret on it, but they didn't.
It is a large turret on that thing.
Yeah.
It's nice to see all that detail work you've done on the gun that now we can't see.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
It's there. Right then.
Hey, what?
Sorry, there's a question. Why would I need the Mr. Hobby Metal Primer and the brush rather than just airbrushing the Mr. Primer on any etch? Because the Mr. Hobby Metal Primer is an etch primer, not a primer. It's for keying the surface to put your other primer on top.
I think we've got a bit of Dirk did a little bit of digging on Spitfires from Thursday show, didn't he?
Yeah, I had a gentleman as well message me onto it, and apparently, yes, you can.
Yeah, so the answer is you can cross-kit a Mark 8 fuselage and a Mark 1 wing.
Oh, that was a question from Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be perfect, but I mean that's the thing with Spitfires, isn't it? You can start cross-kitting to get some of the odd intermediate marks. Is it maybe doing a photo? Is it to do a photo reconnaissance Spitfire?
So what do you get then? Is it a Mark 3.5 or something?
Something like that. But I'm wondering if it's one of the
If you cross
PRs.
a 1 and an 8 halfway to 3.5, isn't it?
If you take a Mark 1 wing, it wouldn't have any lumps and bumps for the cannons, would it?
No.
So that might be for PR.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Photo reconnaissance one. Perhaps, I don't know. Trevor Snowden did a book. I think it predates the Haddad kit, and it's a little table at the back, and it shows you all the cross-referencing for the Spitfire wings and fuselages and all that sort of stuff. It's to do a Mark III, which had a Merlin 20 before it was reassigned to the Hurricane. Yeah.
Let me just grab our show thing on the forum, if I can find it.
Dirk's made a good point that photo reconnaissance Spits are underkitted, apart from the Mark 19.
That's a very good point, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, I mean they had sort of single colour camo, but different, didn't they? Because it was like pinks and blues.
Yeah, and people do the paints as well. Attacker do PR colours, and
Just lightweight and fast. And
they
very
paint them as well. So, Yarth.
yeah, played a really important job in the war, actually. So an underrepresented Spitfire, there you go.
Just a couple of pictures here from Tony. He's been quiet this year. He's been working on the Hobby Boss. I can't do this at the same time because he hasn't linked the photos in. But he's been working on the Typhoon class sub, the Edard BF109E1, and also the Hobby Boss Los Angeles class Dallas sub. So
right.
This is these ones. There we go. Very nice indeed. And we've got our 109. There you go. Very nice indeed.
Still haven't done sub.
I'm doing a sub next. I have it here. Look, it's here, winking at me. I'm doing this one as my next proper build. So yes, it's winking at me. I can't wait to get started. It's going to take forever to get it together and seamless, and then painting it, it'll be right. Trial and error all the way through.
I say, is it definitely in the right timeline?
Yes, it is. Yeah, no, I'm good on mine. Not a problem with that. I have double checked it, and it's still in service today, but
right.
it was definitely in service before the 1992 cut-off. So
It's been in service a while then.
yes, yeah, she has. Well, apparently they sell them to all different countries as well. I don't know about that one, but I was looking at some other Russian ones, and it's amazing how long they're in service and been sold around the world to other countries and things. Any other questions? Questions. I'm just trying to find out. Right, let me check back in here.
So 5 minutes for this session to end.
Steve McDonald says, wait 20 years and we could build an Aussie sub.
Yeah.
You can now just build a British one with a Australian flag on it.
Topical. Nuclear-powered submarine.
Shh, don't start that one. You'll set off half of Europe. It's not good. I like the way we get dragged into it.
I know.
Apparently it's really bugger all to do with us, but you know, we just drag us in. Why not?
Yeah.
It's because we share the technology with America, don't we? So we have to...
Yes, take responsibility.
Hey, we have to be involved,
Yes, that's it.
basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a joint technological thing between US and UK, so...
Well, who's building them?
America.
It really has nothing to do with us. But we get the blame. Hey ho, never mind.
It's fine. It's
Tim's
all
there
good.
saying, you see the Zucchimora P51 in the specials, how does it compare to the Tamiya P51?
I'd say favourably, but it's very...
Again, do you want me to jump in? I've seen both and worked on both, and if I'm honest, I always think the Zucchimori one's over-engineered.
Yeah.
You know, the Tamiya one's a great kit. I've got it over there. She built it as a full video build for it, and it's typical Tamiya. You got all the niceties, the cockpit's beautiful, the engine, all the rest of it. Zucchimori one is basically on a par with it, but obviously you've got all the wing formers and the various things to it as well. So it depends on how you want to. As I said before, Zucchimori kits are more like engineering kits because you've got all the formers and stuff in the wings and stuff that you'd never see once it's together. So.
What's your Chernobyl kit,
It
mate?
is my rubble cleaners.
Don't they call them liquidators? Is that not politically correct anymore?
These people are called bio-robots.
Yes.
Weren't the liquidators ones that were spraying all the...
Yeah,
They were
there is a
spraying
set.
the
Yeah.
liquidators were cleaning up the,
Yeah.
doing hundreds of different jobs, but this roof was like 12,000 rockins per hour radiation that no electronics would survive. So these poor sods had 1 minute on the roof to collect the graphite and chuck it over the edge. Because the only way they could clear that roof to build the sarcophagus was to clear the roof of the debris, and only human beings could do it.
Because all the robots went doolally, wouldn't it? They tried
Yeah, the
robots
radiation.
and they didn't last.
It just fried the circuits in the robots, so they had to put these poor buggers on the roof, and they gave them a minute to get a spade full of graphite out of the reactor and chuck it over the side.
Have you seen the Russian Chernobyl?
Yeah, it's not as good, is it?
It's
Blamed it on the
it's-
CIA.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the Russians at all.
No. Talk about distancing yourself. That's how I came away from it.
Yeah. It was just. I mean, I've read the That's what I've been reading the book in the past 2 weeks about Chernobyl. And they basically caused they reckon that this contributed quite significantly to the end of the Soviet Union.
There you go.
But I wouldn't fancy that job. Running
yeah.
out. Well, you did one shift a minute.
Yes.
That's it.
Bit hazardous though, eh?
It is. It's not the job you'd really want to do, is it?
It's not the job for long lifespan, is it? Let's be honest. Whichever way you want to look at it. So, yeah.
That's bravery, isn't it?
It
Do
is.
that. But it was conscripted, so you didn't have a choice, really.
Yes, definitely. Right, okie dokie. Right, okie dokie. We were all done. Don't forget, we just have a quick flash round everywhere. The actual what we're up to today. So obviously this is the morning section. We'll be back with you at 2 o'clock till 5, and then again basically similar format talking. Hopefully we'll have Brett on with us this afternoon as well. And then obviously this evening we've got quiz night, so 7:30 till 9 o'clock. We've got our quiz. That's just literally grab yourself a drink, some snacks, and we'll have a bit of a giggle for an hour and a half on that one. And then we'll be back with you Sunday morning 10 till 12 again, and then from 2 till 5. And in the afternoon we've got Airfix on with us as well. So we've got Pramjit coming on talking about his recent work, and I'll be building along with him the starter set for the Hawk as well on that particular one as we go through. Don't forget the store, it's got various sales on at the moment. It's up to sort of 25% off. So we've got all the Sanders on the Flory site. So if you're in the UK, if you want to get from me, absolutely fine. You can just dive down in here. Everything is in stock and it's all good to go. So we've got some really good bargains on for you there. Have to point out that the Flory Models wash is 15 years old now. Just saying.
Is it?
Yep. It was first released October. So yes, 15 years ago it came out. I can't remember exactly what date in October, but I know it was in October. So yeah, that's it. Wow, doesn't time fly? So 15 years old now. So anyway, the washes are all on sale as well, so they're only at $4.80 a bottle, so a good saving down there, and we've got the pigments and everything else just like that. Don't forget, PM Models, links are down below from how to get to these places as well. We've got all the specials down in here, obviously all reduced, making their way through. I don't know if we sold out of any, I better refresh it. Nope, looks like we're all good, still down in there as well, so all of those, or there's a couple of bits going, but they are in there just like that. So if you want to grab yourself any of those, and then don't forget, generally in the store on all kits it's 10% off as well. Okay, so you can grab yourself all the normal ones down in there. Serious Models is also with us on this one, so they're our EU distributor, so it's 15% off all Flory Models products as well. So you can go to Serious Models. So if you're in the EU, you don't have to worry about taxes and import duty and all the rest of it, because they'll ship anywhere inside the EU, so you can get them from there. Brett, I think, still asleep. So hopefully he'll be back with us soon as well. So we'll sort that one out. Don't forget, if you want to get your photos up and show us your work, you can get to us via #officialFloryModels as well on Instagram. So if you want to post up your pictures down in there, we can talk about them and see those as well. And then obviously Flory members, if you want to do it, just post them up in the forum on today's section, and we can grab them from in there as well. So good job. Anything else, Andy?
No, you said it all.
Are we all good? Have I covered it all?
Yeah. I think you have.
What's that? 15 years old and not tried out. What, me or the wash? Definitely, yes. Anyway, we will be back in approximately 2 hours' time. We can all have a pee and sort ourselves out and everything else. One thing just forgot to say, because I've got loads of them here. Don't forget, if you want to get one of our nice badges, which are back in, obviously all the orders from the Flory Model store, I'll chuck one of those in with it as we go out there. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a giveaway as well for a limited edition Flory Model 2021 mug and a set of Sanders as well. So I'm going to do that this afternoon. So yes, very good as well. So if you want to join in with that one and work out how you can get that as well on a little bit of a giveaway, join us this afternoon and say we'll be back from you at 2 o'clock. Right, Are we all done then, gentlemen?
We are.
We're all good. Right, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget, if you want to watch the next show, the next link will go up in around about an hour's time, and then you can wait for us and we'll jump in at some point on that particular one, won't we? Right, very good. Okie dokie, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We will see you in approximately 2 hours' time. So until later, everybody, happy modelling. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Hold on. Where's the off button?